We're busy people. We got places to be. So many places. However many places we need to get away from dealing with our problems, that's how many places we've got. We are not at risk for not having enough places. When we were kids, we used to twist up our faces in defiance each morning because we had to go to school. But school was a place. Training grounds for the rat race in which they taught us to chase down a living, even though that meant giving up our best years so that we could save enough money to enjoy our worst. Even though that meant burning our own ambitions so we could toe the company line first. But work was a place, and in it our days became routine where we learned to trace around the edges of whatever life we wanted. We were told we could have it all. But our skulls became houses haunted with the stress of job security. We found ourselves at the mercy of an ever-changing world, fingers curled around the oh-no handles as we start to pick up speed. Our veins became a hallway of time through which we began to bleed the same old day in, day out. Devout in our duties, but always with our eyes on the clock. We watched the minute hand shake hands with the hour hand. Our dreams became castles being built in the sand of an hourglass where time kept slipping away. We became cheerleaders rooting on the end of the day. We couldn't wait to go home, because home was the place. Our base of operations where we drafted up battle plans for the future. We had plans for all those many years ahead, but mostly we just saddled up our bed and rode it into sleep, because we had to be up again to do it all tomorrow. In the midst of our dreams, we heard our alarm clocks shoving their warning into our weary bodies that soon we would have to leave our homes so we could keep our homes. Our enthusiasm for this life was left behind in the water of a catacombs of all the things we could have been, all the places we could have ended up. We have so many places, not just the cradle, not just the grave, but all the places in between. Places where we traded our time to become cogs in a machine that's been breaking down for decades. There are parades of the rejected walking the streets every day. They sit like missing parts beside a machine that has no place for them. Places for the corrupt, places for the treacherous, the untrustworthy. We have places made of steel-enforced concrete 3.5 feet thick to protect money that will go to building more places that will sit empty. But still we have no plans for society's most downtrodden. We watch their horizons diminish while our skylines broaden and our cities grow. How is it that with all of this growth, there remains no place for the abandoned, the destitute? That daily commute from desperation to hope gets longer the more numb we become to the fact that these are people. And like Sisyphus, we push change into a steep hill only to watch it roll back down to the bottom after getting so close to the top. Bureaucracy holds up a stop sign to our compassion and says, nothing can be done. It's the same spin that's been spun every day since they loaded apathy into a gun that sits unlocked in a cabinet of despair. Where can they go? No sleeping on the street, no resting on bus benches, unwanted everywhere they go. They dig trenches deeper into themselves because there is a war being waged upon them. Not with artillery. Who needs all those explosions of noise when they've got something that's quiet and as deadly as red tape? There are holes in the safety net in the shape of people. We forget tragedy's a switch. We're never more than one flick away from the it that can happen to anyone at any time. The climb back to sure footing isn't always as easy as putting your best foot forward. Isn't easy to look for a way out when your vision is blurred by the tears born from the labor of having to accept society doesn't want you. How is anyone meant to keep going, knowing that no one cares? Anyone who wears the scar of homelessness knows that in this world there exist avenues of disaster with losses so profound they can envelop you. For some, it becomes a syringe, each hinge on the doorway leading out of addiction slowly rusting shut. For others, it's a sharpened economy, ready to cut loose anyone who falls behind on rent, even if this time it was spent on training meant to lift them out of poverty. Or maybe it was a bank who said they were doing you a favor by lending you money, when really they were just betting against you. Maybe disaster blew away your home. Maybe you were left to roam the waiting room of your insurance company whose policy is to deny claim or delay payment because every cent they can keep in the bank is another turn on the crank of a machine that spits out compound interest, which means there's money to be made in keeping your future on a waiting list. Indifference has taken the place of mercy. When we need action, we distract ourselves with whatever new controversy is handed to us. Diversion has taken the place of focus, and while we sinks deeper into an abyss of lassitude, the cord that connects us to our humanity is being chewed through by greedy teeth. Our detachment is being twisted into a wreath being laid upon the headstone of our tenacity. We used to fight for one another, but hey, we're busy people. We've got places to be. We got so many places. However many places we need to hide our faces from the people who have nothing, and who we have to walk by on our way to wherever place we have to be. That's how many places we've got. Places for the indifferent, places for the greedy, but no place for the abandoned. No place for the strange. No place for anyone begging us for change.